Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope you're having a great day so far. I'm excited to have our conversation today. It's been really fun to get back into doing this every day, having a nice chat. And I wanted to put in here, I don't know if you guys can see this in your comments. Hopefully, you can click on it and join me in the conversation. Go ahead. That is the link. Nothing needed. Click on in, and I'll bring you into the conversation. And let's start talking about what seems like a giant in the industry of pollution. I mean, in the industry of agriculture, known as Mosaic. This company is on the verge of being brought down by its most formidable enemy yet. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes because that gives us hope into how things can change over time. You know, there have been hundreds and hundreds of people, activists, maybe even more than thousands. I mean, it's been a long time it's been going on in Florida trying to stop Mosaic. Excuse me. Actually, you know, one thing I wanted to point out, right behind me, you see there's this radiation sign. It's not a real one, but I wanted to bring it out because it is a sign you will never see in Florida, especially around the mines where there is excessive radiation, as we proved in the movie. So this is a great example of Florida's disconnect between the pollution problem and the need for solution. So Florida, though, although it has some of the worst polluters in the world, it also has some of the most amazing activists in the world. And we're going to see that today because Mosaic just met its biggest challenge to the future, which is the future itself. So very excited to talk about this today. We're going to talk about, well, first of all, let's just talk about Mosaic for a quick second, because who is Mosaic? What you know, if you're just joining and you're not 100% familiar with what we're talking about here, we did a movie called Phosphate. You can see it right over there. And this movie talks about Mosaic and how they're poisoning everybody with their cancer, which is a byproduct of their, unfortunately, it's a byproduct of their mining practices. Now, Mosaic recently got in the news because they are taking this absolutely toxic leftover and putting it in the roads in Florida. And the EPA approved it, Florida approved it, everyone approved it. Unless you have any kind of information, then you were very much against it. But that just goes to show, can the future entrust its needs in politicians' hands? Be curious to see what you think about that. What I wanted to do right now, actually, is share very quickly a video that we did on Mosaic. And here it is. And this is really quick. This is from Phosphate. And this is to let you know a little bit more about who Mosaic is and what's happening down in Florida. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how they're being combated. Mosaic believes that the solution to pollution is dilution. So they run their water through these outfalls, dump it back into the local creeks and rivers, which eventually works its way out to the ocean. And although none of the state or local governments were paying any attention, what Mosaic didn't realize is somebody was. In 2015, the EPA fined Mosaic over $2 billion for the mishandling of hazardous waste in Louisiana and Florida.
Just last year, Mosaic agreed to pay nearly $2 billion to settle a federal lawsuit, the agreement covering 60 billion pounds of hazardous waste. Now, the company agreeing to clean up operations at 6 Florida sites and 2 in Louisiana, and claiming Mosaic was improperly storing and disposing of chemicals used to make fertilizers. Meantime, the EPA called the agreement a major victory for clean water.
But Mosaic has never addressed these health concerns. Instead, they use PR to try to look like good neighbors. They sponsor huge music festivals, put $9 million into DeSoto's arena, give money to the local police departments, put on charities in the holidays and canned food drives. They even sponsor wildlife events. And as one of the largest landowners in Florida, their political influence is huge. And Mosaic routinely sends representatives out to local elementary schools to help educate the children on the benefits of mining.
Mosaic, preparing today's students for tomorrow's jobs.
So that is the Mosaic way of doing business. They pollute the environment they're in, and they try to get a bunch of good PR. And just imagine $9 million into an arena so that people will say your name every time they say something that's positive to them. That $9 million could have gone to preventing the cancers that these people that live around the mines are getting. And they are getting cancers. If you have not seen the movie, please check it out. It's free. It's on Tubi. The purpose of the movie is to educate people about the dangers of phosphate mining because Mosaic keeps growing like a cancer and eating a new area and taking it. Now, I know we're all about positive news, so here's where the positive news comes in. We just wanted to talk a little bit about what Mosaic does, why they are a problem. Now, the biggest problem that Mosaic is about to face is that it hasn't worked. All this PR hasn't worked. When we see it and we look at it, we go, oh, these giants, they're getting away with all this stuff. No, they're not. It's not working. People are not falling for this anymore. And this is a great example right here. This is the University of Florida. The students have said, we are going to show the government that we are following science, not politics. Now, what they have done was passed a Green New Deal. And I'm just going to bring this down here. I just wanted to share this. This is an incredible article. This is students who have grown up watching their family members getting sick, who have watched their friends get sick, who have watched their friends' family members get sick. These are generations of students that have been exposed to environmental pollutions, red tides, Vibrio outbreaks. Like Florida people know there is no safe water in Florida, and that's why they fight for it, and that's why Florida is such an amazing place. But this one comes as a big surprise because this is students, and what I find very interesting is they created a Green New Deal. Now, according to this, it's going to call for the complete fossil fuel divestment. No more fossil fuel money, a ban on fossil fuel funded research, and disclosure of UF's financial affiliations with the private sector, which would be a huge help because, as you saw, Mosaic already works with a lot of schools in order to get their message across. And as a matter of fact, real fast, this is from Mosaic's website. They were of 140 plus schools and other community organizers in our operating counties and Florida partner with Mosaic to support K through 12. That means that Mosaic goes to these schools and teaches kids how great mining can be, just like you saw in the video. So they are doing a PR campaign every day, and it doesn't matter because people aren't buying it. And you can see it right here. You might be able to fool the old ones, but the young kids, they know what's happening. They've seen it. This is the result of their experience. They said, we do not want radioactive roadways. The Mosaic is now going to pave in accordance with the EPA, which is the big problem is all of this is allowed. But they said, we don't want that anymore. We don't want toxicity in our water. We don't want toxicity in our air. We don't want toxicity in our food. We deserve the basic human right of clean air, clean water, and clean food, clean soil. So this is their first step. If they can keep the private sector, the lobbyists, the people that are trying to influence away from education, that would be a huge step forward. And it's not easy what they're battling because Mosaic in this thing, Mosaic has its own recruiting program. Here it is. Mosaic Student Recruitment Program creates long-term diverse talent pipelines. They actually, remember when you went to driving school and you had the simulator? Mosaic has a dragline simulator that they let the kids play with in order to get them excited about how fun and how cool this video game called Destroying the Earth and Giving Everybody Cancer is. And they're loving it. So the biggest danger is the influence over free thought, which Mosaic already controls a lot of, and a lot of activists fight back against. But the other part of it is that the kids have said, we're done. We are done. We don't care anymore. We don't care. We know you're lying to us. So good for the kids. This is a great hope. This shows that the future has a hope. People are not falling for it. Adults can discuss everything back and forth to the very end. That's why people go from being kids that argue to lawyers that are respected in their community. It's all about getting away with things. Well, the future, these kids have had so much stolen from them that what they grow up in, they're feeling like they want to reclaim their world. And thank goodness for them, because we can look at this and go, future's going to be okay. And especially when they're in a place where, and what I think is important is they're saying, we're no longer listening to politicians, we're going to listen to scientists. We are in an age where people have created science is political, and that's not always the truth. It's just not always the truth, and not every scientist is bought. Science is something that works. Politics tries to maneuver it, but science is something that works outside of the margins of it. Although it may be picked up for later use. And I would be curious to see what everybody thinks, because that is a very debatable concept, a very debatable topic. So I want to see what your thoughts are. But one thing is, we have seen recently in certain states, and I want to say especially Florida, they have rewritten parts of history to accommodate modern law instead of looking at past of history to improve law. And that's where we find ourselves environmentally as well. They are trying to just get everybody excited about the wrong aspects, and none of these people will have the proper education. So all of these activists are out there creating the proper education, and we have seen Florida rewrite history books. We can't let them rewrite the environmental laws and the history books on environmentalism. It just can't happen, because Florida's hanging on by a thread as is. Everybody already knows about all the water issues there. So for this movement to happen in a place where the active legislate is trying to rewrite history and trying to rewrite facts is very brave for these kids to do this. And I think it is incredible. And like I said, it is amazing. They did want to say that UF has received a total of $2.3 billion in private endowment funds. Now, we were looking into UF. I know there has been a little bit of controversy here and there. People have talked about where I think Mosaic maybe have even done a class there. But Polytech is where Mosaic has their cafe. And that's where Mosaic is. And we won't even go into the Florida Institute of Phosphate Research. Save that for another one. Hey, Maxwell, nice to see you again. Thank you for being here. Sierra, thank you for being there. Oh, great. Thank you for putting that link up. If anybody wants to see what's happening in Florida, please go to Tubi. Please go check out Phosphate. Again, the movie was made as an awareness and as a way to express the concerns of the residents, because in general, Mosaic controls so much of the press, so much of the narrative. And now we're seeing they're actively trying to control the education. And even though they're trying, it doesn't work. So the truth always wins out. It is a very hopeful story. The kids are not buying it. The kids are moving forward. And it's amazing, to see this change. So I'm excited to see the changes coming up in Florida. Like I said, one of the most amazing places that I have been, some of the most extremely passionate activists with some of the highest amount of water issues. And those two sort of are colliding to create a brand new future for Florida, determined by Florida's residents, not by outside companies. And I'm pretty sure everybody I met in Florida, that's what they want. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a wonderful Thursday. It is just starting to rain here, which is great. I love rain. I'm going to go enjoy some coffee, hopefully not wear it as a stain, although I do want some of those coffee shirts we talked about before. And hey, Prairie, thank you for joining. Good to see you as well. So yes, thank you everybody for coming in. This is our place to talk about what's happening in the world. It's our world. We need to talk about it because there are innovative solutions going on everywhere. It's easy to point out the problems, but it's more important to start conceiving of the solutions. So have a great day, everybody. Enjoyable as always to come in and talk about some exciting eco news. Cheers to the next generation that is picking up and thinking critically and changing the path of our future, because we're still going to be alive while they're in charge. So we have to remember that too. It benefits everybody. So great news all around. And I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow for more positive eco.